On something that is interesting, one of the more interesting elements in the election results was the performance of the Rastriya Swatantra Party. Does the result signify anything? What are their opportunities and challenges moving forward?
It does signify a lot of things, for sure. I'll talk about the opportunity or the challenge, how it may all shape up. But what it signifies is, the national frustration that has been there, against the current political class. The Rastriya Swatantra Party was, one option that many people have chosen. What is interesting there is they were formed just 5 months ago. What is their ideological inclination? Obviously, they have said a few things, but not everything. Like, how do they look at the whole main political course of Nepal that has started since 2006? There's so many issues that are still there. So important issues, but in terms of implementation of federalism and the citizenship issues, there's so many issues. You cannot just simply you cannot become a parliamentarian and say, okay, I don't care about it. We're not like political, and what Nepal needs is just like public service delivery, and then the big political ideologies are useless. It's not going to work. I'm not advocating that the new parties should have again these political jargon-filled, ideological, abstract, whatever. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is in terms of defining them politically. They are not there yet. So what I'm trying to say is, even when people don't know who they really are, in that sense, they are elected, in an impressive way. What are the opportunities and challenges? So opportunity, they have opportunities alone everywhere. Right, there's so much hope, and there's so much enthusiasm, and they are the headlines. They are the main stories of this election, the Rastriya Swatantra Party. But I just would like to say, because we should not lose sight of this again, is when we talk about the rise of Rastriya Swatantra Party, that there is also a rise of CK Raut in Eastern Madhesh and the rise of Rastriya Unmukti Party in the Western Nepal. Right? Sometimes we lose sight. Why is it important? Is in my assessment, it's very preliminary assessment, Rastriya Swatantra Party, some of its leaders, its main leader and a few others, they seem to have a little conservative tilt towards looking at, the Nepal's political course and the direction. There are many who have doubted whether they're like too conservative, a little regressive in that sense, not owning federalism because they didn't field any candidates in the provincial elections. Is that their political statement? It's just because they don't want it. Have many people who have voted for them? Is it because of that reason? So anyway, so there are questions about their ownership of the new constitution and the course. In that sense, when we talk about the rise of the new parties, we should not lose sight of the rise of the parties who are championing the voices of the ethnic groups and regional groups. It brings a balance. I think very good. So when we talk about the rise of the new and how the old have lost, lost wherever they have lost, we have to look at all these three parties together. Their strength may be different, size will be different, but I think we should look at all of them together. And finally, I say they have opportunities because, they have the fresh trust and mandate from the people, and that old parties are so delegitimized, and, if they do a small good things, people will just appreciate. But again, people are not going to be very patient. In 3 to 6 months' time, if the new parties are not performing well, they will just, form alliances with whoever or conservative. I think, people will begin to assess them again and vote them out in 5 years. I wish them all the best. Right, but opportunities ample, but challenge first. Not about CK Raut and Rastriya Unmukti Party. I think politically they are more clear in terms of where they stand now. Rastriya Swatantra Party, because of the diverseness it has with its people, I think they have to first have that political identity in terms of simple, like, okay, look, this is where Nepal is. This is how we want to go ahead. This is how we'll play our role in the parliament. Just one thing to highlight here is there's this citizenship bill, which was, parliament passed, but the president didn't approve it unconstitutionally. I would like to comment. But the reality is it has not been approved. Now, for the new parliament, that will be something. First, initially, the parliament will have to work on that, because there are many, thousands of citizens who are just without a citizenship, although they are entitled to. So, when I say they need to have a political identity, they need to define themselves as, okay, how are they going to look at the citizenship bill, for example? And that is something that is interconnected with the new constitution, with the federalism, with everything else. So I think they cannot simply get away by saying that, no, we don't care about these big political ideologies where, this new phase of, Nepal, and it's just public service delivery. Public service delivery, very important. Governance, very important. Anti-corruption, very important. But for them to stand on all these issues, they need to have that basic political identity and consistency, homogeneity among themselves, right? I think that is their main challenge. And, in terms of being formed as a party and structure and all that thing, I think that is something that can take place. But I think that's the first thing they have to start with.